Good afternoon. Thanks for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard. We begin today's program with a follow-up. In one of our segments last month, we heard from the Red Cross of Vermont about the urgent need for blood donors. While the need still exists, the organization is thanking people who stepped forward. Interestingly, about 12% of Vermonters donate blood compared to the national average of about 7%. Blood donation is just one aspect of the Red Cross's work. To learn more, here's Across the Fence's Rebecca Gollin.
We're here at the Blood Donation Center. That's just a small piece of what the Red Cross does. Tell me about some of the other local services that the Red Cross provides.
So the American Red Cross has got a number of lines of service. As we've been discussing, blood services. People also are very familiar with our disaster services. So here in our region, which is Vermont and New Hampshire, about every 17 hours we're responding to a disaster, and that's usually a home fire. But we also do respond to national disasters, and sometimes other Red Cross volunteers from out of our state come and support us here as well, like they did during Irene. So we have been deploying many of our volunteers outside of the area as well to those disasters. The other humanitarian services efforts that we do provide is international services. So reconnecting folks, maybe new Americans, to family members from a war zone. A lot of conflict in the world nowadays. People are losing connections, so we can utilize the communications that we have through our services for the armed forces to reconnect families. We're also the only organization that can independently verify communication between a serviceman or woman and their family back at home. So if there's an emergency here at home for a deployed service person, then we can get that communication to their commanding officer and they can make that decision and we can get them back here to their family in case of emergency. We were founded on the battlefield in 1881 by Clara Barton, and we remain embedded in every military base around the world. So we have a lot of connections there that we utilize for a lot of different things. And then the final piece is our training classes. A lot of folks are very familiar with the babysitting class, with our CPR courses. I started as a lifeguard and was trained through the American Red Cross. So there's a lot of opportunities to train folks here in Vermont with life-saving skills.
You have some events coming up. What are some of those?
So we constantly are installing free smoke alarms in people's homes. It's our home fire campaign. So essentially what we're doing is we're making your home safe by installing a free smoke alarm or a number of free smoke alarms in your house, depending on how many you may need. But we're also going to give you an opportunity to discuss an escape plan. A lot of people think that they've got more time to get out of their house than they actually do. You have about 2 minutes to get out of your house during a fire. So the idea behind this program is to get folks out of their homes and to a safe location, making sure that all the family members are there so that the certified first responders that are responding to that fire know that there are no people in the house, that everybody is out safe. So an opportunity for us to really prepare the community. But actually on April 27th, we're doing a rally day. So we're going to be bringing a lot of our volunteer partners together along with some fire departments, community members to go around the area of Barre City and install free smoke alarms in that community.
To learn more, go to the website redcrossblood.org. Every 3 years, the Lake Champlain Basin program does a comprehensive assessment of the lake. The goal is to inform the public and policymakers about the lake's overall health. Across the Fence spoke with the director of the Basin program about the most recent report from 2018.
The Lake Champlain Basin program publishes a report on the state of Lake Champlain every 3 years. We just published our most recent report earlier this summer, 2018, and the idea behind the report is to provide a perspective that is accessible to stakeholders across the watershed, young students to adults living and working here in the watershed, and help them understand and interpret the data and monitoring information that's collected by scientists and managers here in the lake region.
What is the state of the lake in 2018?
How much time do we have? The state of the lake, for all intents and purposes, the lake is actually doing really well. Most people are familiar with the major issues. We have cyanobacteria blooms and sea lamprey problems. Those are persistent, and cyanobacteria blooms will continue to occur into the future here in the lake. But we are working to reduce the nutrients that feed those algae blooms, phosphorus mostly, and depending on whether you're a glass is half full or a half empty kind of person, the trends for phosphorus are doing okay. The good news is that the trends are not getting worse. They're not improving necessarily, but they're not getting worse. So we are continually adding new pressures to the lake. More people are moving here. We're developing more, and we're just adding more pollutants to the lake every year. So the good news there is that with all of that new pressure, things are not actually, the amount of phosphorus going to the lake is not increasing.
So some of these issues on the lake, like legacy phosphorus, are considered long-term problems. What can you tell the public about what it will take to deal with some of those and how long it might take?
So humans have been impacting Lake Champlain for a long time. Samuel D. Champlain arrived here a little over 400 years ago, and more or less ever since then, we have been changing the lake or the watershed. We've clear cut a good chunk of the watershed at one point in time. We've built cities, developed suburban areas. We have farms now, and all of these impacts over the last 400 years have accumulated in the lake. It's delivered a lot more sediment to the lake, and with that sediment comes a lot of other pollutants like phosphorus and nitrogen and other nutrients. So it's a long time that we've been working on polluting the lake, and so people need to understand that it's going to take a long time to fix that, undo all of those actions that we've been doing for the last several centuries. That said, I hope it doesn't take another 400 years to fix the lake, but it's really tough to put a hard number on how long it will take to clean up the lake, especially when there are always new pressures coming into the lake. We have longer summers now. The winters are shorter. They're not as warm as they used to be. We have less ice cover. That affects the lake ecosystem. And all of these things, with the addition of new people coming in, moving here, new development, that's all increasing the pressure.
What are some things Vermonters can do to help the health of Lake Champlain?
They can take measures to reduce their own impacts on the lake. If you have a house, take a look, go outside, put a raincoat on, bring an umbrella out with you, go out in a rainstorm and look and see where the water is flowing off of your property. Is it going straight off of your roof or your driveway, straight into a ditch or a brook or the lake? If it is, that's not good. Find things that you can do and talk to people that can help you figure out ways to reduce that runoff from your property. Other things that people can do is sign up and join a lake association or a Friends of the River association or something like that. Get involved. Find ways to participate in volunteer and outreach events that also will help clean up the lake. There are numerous clean up the river type of programs. There was just one on the Winooski River last weekend. People were pulling tires out of the Winooski River near Montpelier, things like that. There are lots of opportunities for people to get involved and make a difference in the health of the lake.
For more information, check the Basin Program's website at lcbp.org. That's lcbp.org. One of the traditional aspects of the maple sugaring season is Sugar on Snow, festivals and parties being held across the state. Rebecca Gollin tells us more from the UVM campus.
Students at the University of Vermont are savoring the sweet taste of spring with a pickle on the side. So have you had Sugar on Snow before?
I never have. This is my first time.
What do you think?
I love it. You know, it's just, I feel like it really brings out the flavor of the maple syrup. You know, I've never really thought about maple syrup that much until coming to Vermont. So yeah, I love it.
Michael Setsky is from Chicago and just spent his first winter here.
It was very long. You know, it was a lot longer than I thought it would be. But I enjoyed it. I went skiing for the first time. Yeah, I thought it was great.
Setsky and others are here at UVM's annual Sugar on Snow party, hosted by the Proctor Maple Research Center.
It's a chance to talk about how the season went and to try some of this year's crop. It's almost starting to be a little stringy.
Maple specialist Mark Isselhart is on hand to share information about the research he and his colleagues do at Proctor.
We're here to try to answer questions and give people an example of good syrup and give them a chance to try something very traditional.
In the long-standing tradition, maple syrup is drizzled on snow and accompanied by dill pickles, donuts, and coffee.
This is just such an awesome event to have on campus, to see everyone coming out and enjoying it.
Taylor Sayak is a first-year student studying business. She's helping out behind the scenes, and like Setsky, she just tried sugar on snow for the first time.
It's a little thicker than I thought. It's really good on over the ice.
The Sugar on Snow Party started in 1990 as a activity by the Maple History Committee, which is a UVM entity. And it was kind of a reboot, actually, of the old Dean Hills Sugar on Snow Party, which anyone who was around UVM way back when knows that that was a Sugar on Snow Party held on campus in the 30s and 40s into the 50s. And then it kind of died off for a while. So even though it's
Since it started up again, the Sugar on Snow Party has been going strong, even on a rainy day like this one.
It's really cool that we have the Proctor Research Center for students to take advantage of and learn from, but it's also really cool to have this event right on Central Campus so everyone can experience it.
I think that's awesome that UVM can really sort of reach out to the students that way, and I feel like I'm sort of getting a taste of the culture. I mean, literally tasting it. Yeah, just learning more about syrup in this sense, like something that's so key to Vermont's culture. Yeah, stuff like this is awesome.
Getting a taste of the culture through one of Vermont's most time-honored traditions. UVM students welcome another spring. In Burlington, I'm Rebecca Gollin with Across the Fence.
Thank you, Rebecca. And once again, thank you for joining us across the fence. I'm Fran Stoddard.